better okulandinga nga olinayo gwomanyi, especially a fellow Ugandan kubanga amanyi or a fellow African. They know our weaknesses as a culture. They will explain to you, don't do this, do that, whatever. Otherwise, you go with your Africanness or your Ugandanness, no losing opportunities. The problem is, mweze nsi, omwana abera wa state. Whereas a Uganda, omwana abera wo. Nti omutute omukuba. Bajja kusiba. Kubanga, of course, that is child abuse. Kati eri tosobola kutwala omwana wo n'agenda ku ssomero. Ate abaana bababuuza, what did you do on the weekend? Okutegeera kye mukola awaka. That is a way of monitoring you. Kati omwana n'agamba oba twakoze tuti oba abazadde batulese waka ne bagenda ne bakola nga they are under 12 oba bankubye because I was misbehaving. Ebyo byonna manya bumanya police ejja kutuuka ku luggi. I was very intentional kubanga nakimanyako before I went. That is a very serious issue that happens. Kati when I was looking like for my university, nasooka okugamba mulina housing eri just for families. Nga planning until at least omuwala waffe alina, friends who she will be playing with. Ate nga abazadde bonna bali mu university, so tegeera nti okay, bano it is good influence. That is the first thing I did. Basomye and ekyokubiri boba oli wa din. If you're a Muslim, if you're a Christian, Protestant, whatever, those religious groups are there. That's the best way okufuna community. Kati fe twali nga tugenda ku church. If you go to church regularly, balina family gatherings mu maka, boboli n'ekizibu, see very deep whatever. Just ngabwe nagambye, don't toyogera nnyo. Naye maybe, netaaga motoka, how do I buy a car? Recommending a neighborhood enungi where we can live. Emmere, especially kati ngaffe emmere yaffe. Oyinza okubuuza, waliwo some African stores, so it helps okubeeramu ezo networks kubanga bo ebintu ebisinga babimanyi and they can quickly help you settle in. Omuntu ayinza okuva wano n'alandinga in December, tayambadde socks, tayambadde jacket, is not dressed for the weather. Ate n'otuuka engoye zaabwe ziri expensive. Jacket enungi for winter is like $150. Hey, I think you're using before now no downtown boba weetegese bulungi. Emmere. Boba only used breakfast, lunch, dinner. Okiraba. Eri olina okubeera n'effumbiro where you're going to prepare all that food gy'ogamba. Olina okumanya where to shop. Where to shop for that food. Ebisinga okutwala sente is rent. Ate most important, boba toyagala kusasula rent mungi, don't go in a big city. Big cities are more expensive kubanga everyone wants to be there. Katinga Toronto oyinza okusasula basement apartment. Basement mugimanyi under someone's house. 1 bedroom. No sasula like $2,700 a month. A month in Toronto. Nkubulidde. In Toronto. Naye eze sente bwogenda, let's say 2 hours or 3 hours out of Toronto, you can get a 4-bedroom house. It's a lot of money. Era, that's why I said, kyetaaga no landing ew'omuntu. Kati ng'Abayindi and Abachina kye bakoze, bo they live together anti bamanyiira okubeera bonna. Okiraba. Kati bw'aba alina family ye eri India, abaleeta mpola mpola. Kati when you're all in that house, you contribute to the rent, to the utilities, to the whatever. Naye of course, abantu baffe tosobola kumanya unless omuntu omumanyi bulungi kubanga you're bringing them into your space. Okiraba. Oyinza omuleeta n'atuula n'agamba nti oba nakoze naye tebannaba kunsasula. Oba ebizibu ebyeka. Mami mulwadde. Sorry, I can't pay for 3 months. Ebintu ebyo bye bituleetera obuzibu. Ate kusula, you just sleeping. Bills is different. Gas is a separate bill. Water, separate bill. Electricity, separate bill. Countries, boboli in Europe, you don't need a car. They have public transportation here. You can take a bus, a train, whatever. Na boboli US over Canada, unless you're in a big city, wait agachi motoka. That is also another cost. Boboli na amagezi, get a car in your budget. Even if a motoka is $1,000, $2,000. Na abantu chebakola bafuna ganaga motoka notandika okusasula loan yawo. Kati ekyo nakyo nekyongera kuki ku bills izo. Mortgages zeyo you can pay for 30 years. 30 years you're paying for your house. Kati right now in Canada on average, a nyumba eli decent, you're looking at about $600,000 to $700,000. Ibera million. I think bagala down payment 20%. On top of that, bagala employment later. Kubanga bagala kulaba really, can you afford to pay this money? It's easier. Kubanga boba tolina stable job. Ekuletera stable income. Atenga sente zimala bulungi. Tosobola kufuna mortgage. Chisoka, you can't discipline them in the way we know, the African disciplining. Kati boba olina our African mindset, chibera chizibu. Kubanga you're used to disciplining in a certain way, ate you can't. Ekyokubiri, ekirungi kya wano, bwe bakuzaalira awantu, most likely you're going to stay there for a very long time. Kati ababeerawo mubamanyi, the village is raising you, ba anti bonna making sure nti omwana ali straight and narrow. Eri tewali afa ku mwana wo apart from you as the parents. Very serious. Unless olinayo bomanyi, which is why I said it's good to go ngomanyi omuntu. No one is bothered kubaana bo apart from you. Kati abazadde chiku stressinga kubanga olina okulooza ku mulimu, omwana yalidde, ayambadde atya, homework yegwa mukola, you know, oli more hands-on compared. Core values, katinga kunze, it is knowing who I am. Beyond the achievements and so on, are you happy with who you are when you look in the mirror? Without being a doctor, without being a wife, without being this, are you happy with who you are? Of course, for me, that comes based on my religious upbringing, my firmness in God. Ate chanyamba nnyo even okubeereyo ng'oli wekka, that you can pray, you can, talk to God, it's difficult. Chanyamba nnyo that I understood who I was. Ekyokubiri, if you are passionate about what you are doing, whether they pay you or not, you find joy in your work. So by the time when I took a PhD level, I knew I have to do a PhD in an area that I'm passionate about, because it's a long journey. You cannot do it in something totally interested in. Bachelors, exactly. Now, of course, my parents had very high expectations. And really, it speaks to role model babera mubulamu bw'omwana. Omwana bw'omulaga nti, even if obali stubborn wano nga akutawanya, naye bw'omulaga nti I expect a lot of you, and you say, this is you now, naye I know you can be this person. That is the record that plays. Katinze, I knew my parents had high expectations of me, which told me I can do it, but it also meant that it's so a bad disappointing. So, oftentimes, I had to separate myself from my friends sometimes. Buli omu alina different style of learning. Katinze, I knew my style of learning and understanding, and I had to separating to focus on that. Abantu omanyi as friends are. Ngosoma nnyo. What's the problem? Kakana, relax. I didn't listen to it. Kubanga Fena tumanyi je tugenda. You know wano bwe muba nga muri mu high school, you're all at the same level. But when you start reaching university, when you start graduating, it is your character now which determines where you're going. So olina okumanya nti as much as maybe olina abakwano bo, or even sometimes your parents want you to study something, naye nga gwe omanyi nti this is not for me. Tekijja ku, you know, it's not something that will make me happy. Have a firm mind. You know, be able to speak. Well, of course you need to give each thing time. Katika tugambe, when I was doing my PhD, chiyamba, of course, if your spouse naye ali busy, ngali you know, echintu echitwala his focus, nga naye moving. Naye, for instance, when I was doing my PhD, nga manyi between 5 and 8, that is quality time for the family, uncompromised. I don't put anything there. I don't make any programs. Sunday, family day. I don't put any. Saturday maybe is when I'll meet with my friends or do something for myself. But you have to be intentional. Kuchintu choyagala ochitekamu obudde. You know, and build structures in place. Kati for me, that bwe twagambye obeera hands-on parent eri. Kati kyali kitegeeza nti omwana must be in bed by 7 or 8. Yeah, because that time after that is maybe quality time with my husband, with your spouse, or kusoma, or to prepare for the next day. Kwa gambo lino okubeera organized and structured. You can't just, you know. You have to be structured. Ekyokubiri, you still have to maintain a level of humility. Just because you've achieved so many things, you know, does not mean to you, you don't walk on people's heads. No kubeera nga oli humble. Yes, oli doctor, naye enkofira ya doctor njambala at work. Bwe nkomawo waka, ndi mukyala kironde, ndi mama okitegeera. If waliwo ebintu bye wali okola before you achieve all these things, maintain them. If you are the one maybe ng'ofumba oba ng'okola laundry, maintain them or try okole kati eyo. To be fair, bw'oba obeera eyo kyetaaga nga mwembi muli hands on. Okay, bw'oba ofumbye oli akole ki ayuze ebintu, you know, okubeera with that partnership. And when you have to bring yourselves forward, encouraging. Bobo funa PhD, making sure your spouse is also fulfilled. Muchakola, bring them on. Bobo linabia research, you get an aye, tomo excluding. Say, hey, kankubuze. MBA will it keep you warm at night? Ngempe wo kuitamu. Bobo liku deathbed. MBA kuyambachi. And ideally, qualifications ofuna zilina okuyamba family. Otherwise, why are we doing it? Kati nze bwe nali nsoma, nali ngamba, one, of course, nina omuwala. I need to set an example for her. You know? Abanaddako. Even my husband was this. My husband, naye abeere proud. Era yangamba, edda from the time of, omanyi bobo olina omuntu. Ideally, talk about your ambitions right away. Omuntu ategeere gy'ogenda kubanga nze namugamba from the beginning my goal kola PhD. Era nangamba kirungi nja nakusasulira. Fortunately nafuna scholarship. Naye it showed me nti ali very positive. Tafa, yeah, he's open. Tajja kuwulira. Naye of course katibo culture bemba ndi waka. I behave as is expected. Go mchala muganda, you know. Fukamira, I have no problem. Of course, teba fukamira. Neba wuliranti, now I'm better than. I'm American, I'm Canadian, you know. You know, you adopt the culture there, but their culture is very individualistic. It's very selfish for the most part, you know. I tell you one for us, which I the change is we are very community oriented. Katibobo olim community, there's expectations. okimanyi nti omwami wo alina okubeera nga omuwa ekitiibwa, and there's a way in which in our culture we show that. It does not. Of course.
In comparison ku butakimu.
Kubanga at the end of that day chetulabyeyo families okumenya and the children suffer trauma ya amaanyi. Kati olina okwebuuza, you've gotten married, okay, mutandise okufuna abaana, do you want them okubeera ne experience? Okubeera n'abazadde babiri, it brings many benefits. Kubanga where you're weak, oli abeera strong. Kati nze, because I'm so structured, my husband is more fun. Kati yaleeta fun mu maka, muwala wange n'abeera, amanyi nti mami yagamba dinner, bedtime, bichi. Kusoma, mami, yeah, daddy kupanga, daddy ali creative. Ali creative, he builds things, Ati naibi ayagala, she's also a creative girl. Kati bochitegeera nti two parents bring balance. You both have strengths and benefit and weaknesses, and you balance each other out. Then omuntu wo, even if you are doctor, lawyer, whatever, omuwa the respect, because otegera the value jaleta mu bufumbo bwamwe.
Okay, doctor,
the other side is advocating nnyo to bring in more African scholars. Kubanga abasinga okubeera mu universities bazungu, Asians and so on. So it is changing the narrative eyo gyembeera. Oftentimes I'm saying there's a lot of talent in Africa. Of course, nabo balaba Africa ku TV ne bibatiisa. So media namwe temuyamba sometimes. Ne show the difficult images. Kati nabo ne batya. So I'm trying to change that narrative. Obalaga nti there's a lot of talent in Africa, but also funding. Abantu abo balina sente. A lot of funding towards, innovation, towards health, scholarships zetwogeddeko. So a lot of African immigrants actually bakoze bulungi to start funding just for Africans or just for black students. Yeah, they're really trying to change the narrative, but there are many of us working in that space. Now, when I started my company, I said it should start in East Africa, go into Africa, and then we can talk about the rest of the world. And because I advocated for that, they said, okay, we now need to start forming partnerships ne universities eziri mu zino ensi, kubanga abantu abajja wano, they want to give back, or they want to start companies which are benefiting their communities, So that's the way we are trying to help. At my university, the president, never delegation, they are coming here in March. Wow. Simply because many of us, abana Uganda tuwerako, so many tugamba mulino okujja. You see for yourself. Laba the talent, laba the beauty, laba the opportunities which are there. That's what we are trying to do to change the narrative. Now, of course, ngaba wala as well. Just trying to say, you can be, oyinza okubeera omuzadde, oyinza okubeera, a wife, and you can. It doesn't mean you stop. Abantu they study, even with 4 children. It's possible. Don't stop learning. Keep improving yourself. Don't be stagnant. Stimulate your brain.
Yes, because
abantu bo ba benefiting nga nawe we elevating. No one tewali ayambuka yekka. Bwoba ogenda waggulu ogenda n'abantu. So it is not just for you, it is for n'abantu bo. Ekyokubiri, wano wetuli, there's a lot of need, there are a lot of gaps, which means opportunities nyingi. Tosobola gamba nti tewali kyakola. Tulina okumoving away from okulinda abantu otuwa. I'm waiting, give me a job, give me a place or whatever. Okutandika okulooza, okweroozaako, what can I do to change this situation? And okulooza long term, normally tulooleza wano kumpi, naye changes ku bazungu ba planning 100 years ahead. Yes, abali wealthy, oli bw'atandika family alooza my great grandkids saagala bakole ki babonebone. So what can I do now establishing a family for the rest 5-7 generations down? And that's how we need to start thinking here. Kati abakyala normally fa abalooza nnyo ku family and the well-being of the family. Okiraba kati gwe bw'oba oli established, bw'oba osomye, one, you contribute to the household income, meaning nti value y'amaka, what you can offer abaana bo is more. Naye ekyokubiri osobola kwogerako n'omwami wo n'ogamba tetulowooleza wano, tulowooza long term. What can we do together okukola ki okusolidifying the well-being eya family? Okiraba, so legacy yo nebeerawo. Kati bw'oba olina that mindset, decisions zonna z'okola zibeera different. Bw'oba olowooza generational wealth, tosobola kubeera mu university nga non-stop oli mu kudigida oli kukola ki, kubanga gy'ogenda omanyiyo. And of course it's okay to have fun, tewali buzibu, naye nga bw'owayogedde earlier, have balance. Know where you're going. Know abantu who have sacrificed for you. Build on abazadde bo kye bakoze. Abazadde bo bwe baba bataddewo one home, hopefully you ne ba siblings bo mujja kuteekawo 5. Like build, si just okutwala all the time. So I hope for that young lady out here, timing is important. Ate tosoma nnyo ate window yo ey'okufumbirwa. Ndi mu fertility babulidde after 35 bizibu. After 35 bizibu. So abakyala oba abawala it's good okusoma, naye bw'oba oli mu university oba wakatandika okukola olina okubeera nga onoonya. It's easier ng'oli yanga kubanga then mukula mwenna. There is that understanding. Wano mu bukulu you already your firm in your character. It is difficult okubeera moldable. Okiraba. So olina okubalancing soma nnyo. Naye bw'oba oyagala kufumbirwa, bw'oba oyagala kubeera ne family, you have to keep an open mind about that. And because otuuka mu fertility nabyo biwanvu. Yes. Ate cost of IVF $5,000 plus. Ate abaami abasinga tebaagala bikola ebya IVF balaba nti